Those were my attempts at making a 3D scan using analog photogrammetry, a term I coined for the process of making 3D scans using film photos. 3D scans of places that are meaningful to me in some way, like my favorite building in LA, or a crossroads of people I'd only know years later, or an effigy of a conversation with my dad, and the hike that set the tone with my relationship with my best friend. Little digital mementos of my world in LA with physical analog pieces to go with it. Lots of pieces actually. 116 for this model, another 3 black and white rolls for Mocha, 4 rolls for the Weston, and 6 expired film rolls for the tree. 16 rolls of film and 600 images to have enough data to put through the algorithm. And even with all those photos, none of the models really worked out how I wanted them to. They're all little chunks and bits when I actually wanted them to be environments you could explore and walk around in almost. And this isn't a problem with them being on film, but doing it on film didn't help. Like this one I did with my phone. It was either a problem of choosing a scene that was too complicated, there not being enough light, my lens being too narrow, or the surfaces being too reflective, or the scene being too repetitive, or a combination of all of them. In hindsight, I should have used all the film on one of the simpler models, but I couldn't decide between these, and I thought I had made enough models to avoid some of these issues. I used a program called Curie Engine for this because I found it to work the best, but I also put it through Polycam and a few others with even less success. But I'll have the data sets up if somebody wants to try to make something better with what I already have without going through the hassle themselves. I would have loved to see this project out and made something closer to what I had in my head, but I've been sitting on this for too many months. And I think failing at something, officially, is still a version of being done. It's also not a complete failure either. I think that they have their charm. Not quite the film texture mapped onto a 3D model sort of charm, but still charming nonetheless. Or maybe I just have a connection to these places, like this tree. I've been watching it watch over me on the 405 my entire life. Always wondering with my dad how it got there, whether it blew up the side of a hill, or somebody planted it, or if a little squirrel buried the acorn and then forgot about it. When I came up here to shoot it, a lady was putting leis that she took from an event and putting it on the tree because she thought this tree was special. And it was really cool talking to somebody else who had some sort of bond with this tree, which I didn't expect, but it makes sense. We talked and it was nice. Made me think about how many other people had feelings for this tree. And it made me think about people in general, which is why I scanned Mocha. I came like 6 years ago for a thing called Mocha Teen Night, and when I was there, I feel like I was just starting to become a person, which is kind of funny. And it turns out that a lot of other people becoming people would be people that I would know years later. Really important people. I knew some of them knew me. I wouldn't know others for a while. It was a funny little junction of people that I didn't know and would get to know and would lose, and the Bonaventure. I just think it looks cool. And it has a restaurant on top that spins. A lightly guarded pool, I guess. So, that's it. That's most of the project. For context, all the other ones I compared the film ones to were done with my phone using LiDAR, which is a process that I will explain. So, what happens is, the phone sends out lots of infrared light pulses out into the world. The light bounces off whatever it hits, and the phone measures how long that took. It turns all that data into a point cloud, which is a 3D map of dots. And then that cloud of dots is then combined with what the regular camera sees to give you something with texture. And there you go, a 3D model. Now, how would you do this if you didn't have LiDAR? If you only had 2D images on a medium more than 100 years old with no depth data? Well, I can explain that too. When you look at something up close, and you open and close each one of your eyes, it seems to move a pretty good amount. When you put something farther away and you do the same thing, it doesn't seem to move as much. Same thing when you're looking out the window of a moving car and the road seems to be moving by very quickly and the mountains don't really seem to be moving at all. That's parallax. Now, Based on all these overlapping pictures, it'll build a series of reference points. With these reference points, it'll assume depth information using parallax to compile it using a process called magic. That's it. And like all good magic, it doesn't always work exactly as planned, or in this case at all. I lied about the oak. I actually shot it with LiDAR on my phone. I shot the film version of this with 6 rolls of expired Velvia that I bought from a friend's moving out sale. And it turned out so pink and washed out that I didn't think it would work. And so instead, I built this. It's an analog 3D model of the oak tree, made of chicken wire and slide film. And when you look through it, you get an idea of what you would see. If you look at the canopy, it's a shot of the canopy, the trunk. And I like it. I'm leaving it here. And it's sweet that there's a piece of the Santa Monica Mountains 20 miles away in one of the least natural spots I could think of, littered with overpasses and off-ramps and rivers and bike paths and pipes and trains and electrical wires. It's sweet. Anyway, that's the project. I want to revisit it someday when I have some more spots that mean something to me. And yeah, thank you very much.